I know I said I was going to talk about the EPA and how they want to regulate cow farts. So, with that said, I have a clip here, and it's talking about how the EPA is actually doing this. So here's a clip. I believe it's Fox News. It should be Megyn Kelly. So here's a clip.
The EPA is now acting on claims from scientists that gas from cows is seriously contributing to global warming. The Environmental Protection Agency is now reportedly considering a tax on belching bovines. You may not care if you don't own any cows, but believe me, this would directly affect your bottom line at the supermarket and cause a big stink for American farmers. And one congressman says such a tax could cost billions. He is Congressman James Sensenbrenner of Wisconsin, and he's the ranking Republican of the House Select Energy Independence and Global Warming Committee. Good morning, Congressman.
Morning, Megan. How are you today?
I'm fine, thanks. So this all stems back to the Supreme Court basically upheld the EPA's right to regulate certain gases and emissions. And now the EPA appears ready to do that with respect to methane gas, gas that cows belch out when they're sitting out on the field. And now the EPA could make farmers pay for that gas?
You're right. $175 a year for each head of dairy cattle, $80 a head for each head of beef cattle per year, and also $20 a head per pig if you're a pig farmer. This cow fart tax shows how outrageous the whole global warming and climate change debate is. And it's going to hit everybody directly at the supermarket when they buy beef or pork or milk. Those prices are going to go up because it's going to be that much more expensive to produce these essential food commodities.
Now, Congressman, I saw you with a straight face just brush right over that term. You know what you called it. Here at America's Newsroom, we're referring to it as the cow gas tax.
Mm-hmm.
So much more civilized. But
well,
then,
it might be more civilized. The EPA calls it digestive gases. We all call those farts.
This is not feeling like a career high for me. Let me ask you, though, Congressman, it is serious business because those are big numbers you mentioned. $175 a head of cattle, $20 a head for pigs, and so on down the line. That's a lot of dough for farmers. They don't wind up eating that. They wind up passing that along.
Sure, and it's going to hit everybody at the supermarket. Now, I wonder if the EPA is going to say you can get an exemption from this tax if you put a catalytic converter on each end of the cow. I wonder what the Humane Society would say about that.
And so what will happen as a practical matter? I mean, if they really do try to crack down on this, they say that these gases account for something like 20% of the methane gas out there, or the emissions out there. If this happens and this tax is imposed, as a practical matter, how is it going to affect the average Joe in middle America?
Well, the average Joe, when he goes to the supermarket and buys any kind of dairy product or beef or pork, is going to end up paying through the nose to pay for the cow fart tax. Or you're just going to see these types of essential food commodities disappear from the shelf. This, in my opinion, shows how ridiculous the whole debate on climate change and global warming has become when you give a non-elected agency like the EPA the power to impose a tax on cow flatulence.
So, we see this kind of overreach over and over again. And again, they're doing this through the EPA. This is an executive branch. This is not the way that these branches were meant to regulate. They're not supposed to be able to have these broad-reaching regulations that sweep into every single part of your life. We also see that they're charging $175 per head for every milk cow that's out there. Are you serious? $175 per head. Now, just doing that based on the 900 cattle that Clive and Bundy had, I'm running these numbers right now, and that's $157,500 per year that it would cost you to run a cattle farm, a dairy farm. That is insane. That's ridiculous. That's outrageous. And we're already being taxed out the ear. I mean, they're already taking more than 50% of your paycheck, depending on your level of income. So why? Why is the government and these environmental agencies making it so difficult for everybody to do anything in America? I think that, and this is just my personal opinion, but I think that the Obama administration wants to weaken America. So why do I think this? Because if we are broke and we can't afford to feed ourselves, we will be more inclined to depend on the government for the solution. So this is what they do. They break down industry. And I mentioned before, they understand that when they tax something like cigarettes, they get less use of it. You fundamentally price people out of the market. I know that they understand this concept. I'm 100% sure that they get this. So they get it with cigarettes. They know that if they tax cigarettes, people will use cigarettes a lot less. I know they understand that if they tax industry, there will be less industry. They're not stupid. They're all Marxists, socialist, communists. They think that capitalism needs to be destroyed. Obama already said that he was going to bankrupt the coal industry. Now he's attacking the cattle industry right now. We see it. This is what is going on right now. So everyone knows that the Democrats will give more handouts than the Republicans. So when people depend on the government, they're going to vote Democrat. They're creating the problem, and they step in and they want to be the solution. I'm not buying it. And with that in mind, come election time, people who are receiving money from the government, they'll be more inclined to give their vote to the party who will vote, who basically will give them the most out of the Treasury. And that has always been the Democrats. It always will be the Democrats. Okay, so we see them attacking the cattle industry with the cattle battle, what's going on with Clive and Bundy. All right, we also see it with the cow fart tax. But now they're attacking spent grain. Spent grain. And if you don't know what spent grain is, it's a byproduct from the brewing industry, okay? So if you've ever enjoyed a nice beer, when you come home from work, you crack a beer open, the process of making that beer, it creates spent grain. And the EPA now wants to regulate spent grain. They don't want cows to be able to eat spent grain. So now we see, again, the price for cattle now just went up because these brewers, they will give you, if you're a farmer, they will give you the spent grain in most cases for free, just to haul it away. That's all you have to do, haul it away. It's their trash. So now you can feed your cattle grain that was used to make beer, but now it's perfectly fine. And they're basically making it so that you can't have this mutual exchange, this beneficial relationship between a brewer and a farmer. You can't do that. And now they have to spend more money on food, more money on feed. It's going to cost them more, which will necessarily increase the cost of your burger, of your steak. All of the meat is being attacked. At some point, people are going to be priced out of the meat market. It's gonna basically make it so meat is a luxury item that only the rich can afford. So, there's plenty of articles out there, but this stuff, it's been used in bread. This spent grain. We also use it in bread and in pizza, but that accounts for only a fraction of the stuff out there. Most of it's given to dairy farms or other farmers, and like I said, it's only for the effort of hauling it away. That's all they got to do. So it's free food for their livestock. This is something that's been going on for years and years and years since the introduction of the beer industry. This is something that's happening, and this is, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is the FDA, not the EPA, that's regulating this. So to me, it's pretty outrageous that this is going on, and it doesn't surprise me though, and the reason why is because it's all an attack. It's an attack that they're trying to dismantle industry in America. So anyway, if you guys are interested in that, and you want to comment, feel free. I'd like to hear what you have to say. Give us a call. The number of the show is 619-924-0986. Again, that's 619-924-0986. Or you can email the show at talk@OnTheMoveShow and give us your take on it.